Let's start at the beginning. How did this film come about? So who started it? Who approached whom?
Well, it was a situation where it started with I think the seed of it really started. I think about 4 years ago when I saw this Pasolini film, which hopefully maybe someone would help me with the title. What it was about it was a Terence Stamp is in this movie, and he sleeps with his whole entire family. He's a sort of sorry. Theorem.
Yes. Thank you.
He's this hobo, a guy who appears, and he sort of sleeps with his whole entire family. I wasn't so keen on the film, but I was very interested in the idea. Anyway, then I forgot about it completely. Then, by chance, I met Abby Morgan, the co-writer, and we had a meeting arranged, and I had 45 minutes. Okay, we'll meet 45 minutes. This conversation ended up to be 3.5 hours, and we started to talk about sex addiction. No, we started to talk about the internet. Then pornography, then it got on sexual addiction, and that was the starting point.
Okay, and then how did you go about the process of writing it with Abby? So you're both credited as co-writers. Did you spend a lot of time together? Did you go your separate ways and come back? How did you write it?
Abby is a very close friend of mine now. It's just one of those things where, in life, when you get to be 40, you think, oh, that's it. As far as friendships are concerned, you're never going to meet anyone like that. But it was just such a great bond. The egos went out the window, and it was all about the actual job of creating the story. So after we decided, okay, we want to make the story, we wanted to sort of talk to people who were sex addicts in London, but we couldn't find anyone to speak to. No one would talk to us. And I think at the time the Tiger Woods thing happened, so it was huge in the press, and of course, the British media as it is, no one really wanted to speak to us. So it was very difficult to sort of get an in on the subject matter. All these doors were being sort of shut in our faces. So it was similar to sort of Miss Marple in Columbo. We sort of blunderingly went off to New York in a way that, because we got in contact with 2 experts in the field who then talked to us. We had a week in New York to do research, and it was very heavy.
So were they academics studying it?
No, they were psychiatrists.
Oh,
they were people who were actually helping people, and in turn they introduced us to people who had the affliction and had the addiction, because we went out to talk to them for like 3 days, and being introduced to what was going on, and then we came back again after that first week, and then we got introduced to people who had the affliction and recovering sex addicts, which was very heavy, because of course when I first heard about sex addiction, like most people, you laugh. But then you sort of see what it actually entails. I mean, it's like the drunk at the Christmas party. That when you find out this person, to get through a day, is drinking a bottle of vodka or more, it ceases to become funny.
Yeah, no, it's true. And just sticking with sex addiction for the moment, for me, there's something really that comes out quite powerfully in this film about trauma in the kind of psychological, personal sense, and how it really affects people's, particularly Brandon's perception of reality and like rationality. He sort of begins to lose grip on what's actually rational and won't take responsibility. It's like he kind of has this daily ritual, but he's not really there. How did you kind of develop that character?
Well, it was easy because we spoke to a lot of people who were living in that world. I think there's a lot of people who are living in that world who have decided for themselves. They work, they make money, but they create an environment for themselves, which is sort of what they want. And it's very centered to themselves. I mean, again, I think with sexual addiction, it's been sort of, again, it's been facilitated, of course, very much, of course, by the internet. You could click, on some 12-year-old kid could 2 buttons on his iPod rather, and have the most explicit sexual images. I mean, when I was growing up, I imagine similar to how most people here, it was on the top shelf of a news agent. That's as near as you got to it. Or that guy who brought the sex magazine to school, and everyone huddled around. Now, pornography has never been more easily accessible. And I don't know if it's good or bad. I have no idea. So therefore, it's one of those situations where I just was very much interested in that world where someone, also, can isolate themselves and create this world for themselves. That's what happens all the time. It's very now in some ways. It's not at all the situations. It's people who create their own environment. That's how they do it. That's what they want.
And let's talk about the cast a little bit. So Michael Fassbender, central was he to the film for you? Was there someone else, or did you only imagine that he could play this
Michael,
role?
with Hunger, we made a relationship with Hunger. That was it, really. I thought, well, Michael's the guy for this, and I think Michael is a kind of tour de force in the movie, but also he's a focus, he's a concentration, and we work very quick together, so it's very easy, in a way, for us to work together. That's great. I would sort of, he would do something on camera that wouldn't be exactly what I wanted, and I would walk up to him before I reached him. He'd say, yeah, I know. Okay, right. Walk back to the camera. So that'll be it. So, and sometimes, of course, it was the preparation with Michael at the beginning to talk about the thing, to talk about the film and the script. He gets the script. He also reads the script. He reads the script about 300 times. He just reads the script. So therefore, then we have conversations about it. And he actually met a few people who had the affliction of sex, who were sex addicts. And then we work. And then we talk about the character. And then we rehearse. I did one rehearsal. I did 2 days of rehearsal. It was with him, Michael, Kerry Mulligan, James Badge Dale. And it was too good. So we did 2 days, and I said, stop there, we've got to stop this now. Put the plane back on the tarmac, because it got to be so good. I thought, okay, we have to forget it. No more rehearsals. So thank God I wrote notes about all the rehearsals we did, implied them into the script. But it was a month before we were shooting, so it was wonderful. By that time, they had forgotten what they had done, so I could implement it in the script, but then they could recharge the batteries again. So it's one of those things where, as far as working with actors are concerned, which it's kind of with actors I very much have to know the actor, because I don't want to hire actors. I want to work with them. And hiring actors, they just come and do the lines and that's it. I'm not interested. He has to have a real sort of connection. Otherwise,
collaboration. What's
the point?
And was there much improvisation, or is it all scripted?
There was a lot of improvisation in a way, but the script is, that's the basis. But it's all there. It's all in the script. You see, where the script's like, and and if is out, or if and a but is in. So it's I don't like it. Sometimes things have to be perfect, but other times they could be much more looser, as long as that it can communicate better than possibly the script. If it isn't better than the script, we stick to the script. That's it.
Okay, and the visual style, now I'm sure you're pretty fed up of everyone going, you're a visual artist, blah, blah. But actually, I've got a new theory. Not that every visual artist should be a filmmaker, but every filmmaker should be a visual artist.
I couldn't care if I was a butcher or a tailor. There shouldn't be an issue if I'm an artist or a visual artist or whatever. That's not of any interest. What's interesting is that people see the movie and judge the movie, not from where they think what background I'm from.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of, I think a lot, and also I think it's been a bit of I think a lot of critics in some ways it's been a bit of a hindrance, because they in a way, because they think, oh, he's a visual artist, so he's an installation artist. And of course there's a real kind of, what can I say, what is there? There's a kind of a bit of disdain with film critics, I think, with people who make art, or especially installation and film. I think there's a little bit of disdain with it. Oh, they don't know, it's just a silly thing what's going on in the corner. So when they do come into narrative filmmaking, they always look for the so-called art stuff, or the very painterly or whatever. Nonsense. You stick a camera, you shoot. But it's kind of interesting. So for me, it's all about the story, the narrative. Yeah.
And what about your relationship with the cinematographer, Sean Bobbitt? Sure. How did you work that through, and how much do you feel is his kind of eye and yours? Sure.
I think I've been working with Sean for 11 years now, so it's kind of a very tight relationship. We first worked together on a film called artwork I did called Western Deep in Johannesburg, we were 3.5 kilometers on the ground, the deepest mine in the world, and we were in a crevice which is a 45-degree angle and 90 meters high. And I remember that time, what the fuck am I doing here? With this Super 8 camera, with this guy. And we had to bond at that moment, we did. And Sean is just an amazing, he has an amazing eye, but also he's loose. It's kind of interesting with the camera and frame, we're always dealing with that, but somehow he always seems to sort of break free of that. And again, we talk a lot about the process before, because if you see in the film, when we meet Brandon, it's very steady. It's very sort of controlled. We do pan maybe, but it's all on the tripod. It's very stable. The images are very stable. As soon as Sissy comes into the frame, it's all handheld. There's this sort of fragility. There's this, maybe you might not even notice it, but it's just something which it's kind of, it resonates in your brain. There's a slight unstableness about her when she brings herself into the film. And
it's just nice to see something that's a little bit different as well. I kind of got a bit tired of the sort of it's grim up north, social realism, or even perhaps this like blue-green tint that every film seems to have recently. Like, were you just not conscious of that, or are you thinking, I don't want to make a film that's going to fall into one of these kind of genre traps?
I don't know. It's all about the subject matter. It's always about the subject telling me what to do. It's not about style. I never think about the style, and only if what the images help the story, that's it.
Yeah.
It's all about the story, and I don't really care anything else than that.